Welcome to the Frugalpreneur podcast. I am your host, Sarah St. John. This episode is what I refer to as a showcase episode where I feature a bootstrapped entrepreneur and they briefly share their tips, tricks, tactics, techniques, and tools that help them bootstrap their business and the successes and failures along the way. My hope is that each of these showcase episodes will provide at least one valuable takeaway that you could implement right away in your own bootstrap business journey. Now, on to the episode.
So I grew up in India and I started my career at 15 working in a factory for $2 a day. And I wanted to improve my life. I wanted to do something more with my life. And I found my love for computers. And I basically just fell in love with it. And I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. And then I came over to North America in 1998. That was the dot-com boom days. And I got a job very quickly. And I lost that job due in the dot-com bust days. And then continuously, successively, I lost 3, 4 jobs because of September 11th, the economy crashing and those type of things. So at that time, I realized that job security is not a real thing. And I wanted to make sure that I'm self-reliant, and I started my business back in 2001, consulting with the technology startups. Then I got a chance to work with the Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education. I got into artificial intelligence and created technologies that have impacted millions of lives and generated hundreds of millions. The thing that I realized was that the skill that I bring to the table is problem solving and looking at situations and figuring out what is the best way to get to the desired solution with the least amount of money and least amount of effort and fastest way to get there. And that's the skill I wanted to market because there was not a lot of infrastructure needed. I just needed my laptop, my internet connection. And so basically, I started a consulting company and that needed a very low startup cost. And what was the biggest expense was mainly marketing, going, meeting people, making sure I spread the word about my expertise, my company, my consulting. And that was not an easy thing to do. I mean, it's a very, very noisy world, very crowded marketplace. So what I realized was that the key to building a successful business was not the skill set that I bring to the table, but my ability to build connections, relationships with people, and providing more and more value before I can expect to get anything in return. So all this learning had to be learned through a lot of investment in myself, a lot of time invested, a lot of coaching, a lot of courses. So that was the major investment that I had to make. But the startup costs were quite low in terms of offering my consulting services to the customers. The biggest success I will say has been the satisfaction of doing something on my own, proving it to myself that I'm capable of building a business. Not only that, but I really enjoyed the diversity of working with multiple companies in multiple industries. What that has given me is the ability to look at solutions in a particular industry. For example, in real estate industry, certain solutions are popular. And then when you look at similar situations in another industry like logistics or healthcare or education, most people do not know that these solutions exist. And mainly people work in silos in their particular industry. So what it has given me is the ability to look at visions and sort of some knowledge from one industry to another. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of sort of problem solving is a fun exercise for me. And so working in these different industries has given me a lot of tools in my tool chest to draw from. And then it has given me opportunity to travel the world, visiting client sites, meeting people from different backgrounds, different cultures. And the failure has been, as I said earlier, like this notion of thinking that if I have the skills, money will just flow to me or clients will just come to me. And that was the biggest learning. I mean, I won't call it a failure because every failure has a lesson in it. So that was the biggest lesson. And it took me a long time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources to learn that lesson. And the result has been that now I understand what works, what doesn't work, and I can help others get there faster by sharing my knowledge. One thing I realized is all about a few things. One is asking the right questions so that When you do market research, when you talk to your prospects, you ask the right questions so that you can solve their problems. Business is all about solving other people's problems because they cannot solve it as well as you can. Once you ask those questions and you start to see some patterns in the marketplace, now you know what you can offer and what is the value you can extract out of the marketplace. The second thing is building more connections. These days, it's so easy. Back when I started, it had to be done face to face. It had to be done meeting people, going to trade shows, conferences, lunches, dinners. But now you can do everything pretty much on social media, sitting in the comfort of your own office or home. So, my advice is build these connections, show up online, share value, share your opinions openly, and then when you build these relationships with these connections, interact with them, follow up, because that's another thing I learned in business. It's all about building the connection and then following up. Because if you don't follow up, that relationship is not going to go anywhere. So generally, they say that you need about 7 to 12 touch points with a prospect before a sale actually happens. So building these connections on a consistent basis, asking the right questions so that you understand what you bring to the table and how you can extract value, and then following up regularly with your prospects and asking for referrals. That's a basic structure of a successful business. The theme here is that business is all about people, business is all about relationships. So if we start to prioritize building relationships, then everything becomes smoother. One thing I also realized was we are all trying to achieve something. We are all running after success or whatever it is. Throughout our journey, we try to think, okay, how do I figure it out? How do I do it? But as I grew in my business and career, I realized it's not about how I do it. It's about who is going to help me do it. Because just like we are entrepreneurs, we can help solve other people's problems quickly. We need to surround ourselves people smarter than us. So we generally are good at a few things, maybe technology, maybe marketing, maybe sales. But then business needs many, many other skill sets. So we need to surround ourselves with people who have expertise in the other areas where we don't have expertise. And you collaborate with them, whether through profit sharing, partnerships, or you pay them consulting fee, hire employees smarter than you. So the idea is to lean into your genius, whatever your silver lining is, and offload the other things to people who are willing to collaborate with you and provide you the best value. And if you want to learn more, if you want to connect with me, if you want to talk about technology, startups, artificial intelligence, business, personal growth, connect with me on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, and just say that, let me know that you heard me on this podcast and how I may be able to help you achieve your goals and faster and better. And let's connect and let's see what we can do together.
I hope you enjoyed that episode and were able to take away a valuable nugget of information that you can implement right away in your own business. If you feel your story would be valuable for the listeners of this show, please visit frugal.show/guest.